Hi, this is Freddie from Team Alpha. Today I'm gonna present about our customer satisfaction analysis of San Francisco International Airport. This is our agenda today. I'm gonna talk about the decision problems, the objectives of the whole program, the data background, the process of data cleansing, our data analysis, algorithms and results from the analysis, then followed by summary and our recommendations. Here comes naturally the question, how can San Francisco Airport increase the overall customer satisfaction and build customer loyalty? For me as a passenger, if the infrastructures in the airport is not that good, then I may try to avoid flying from or landing at that airport. So it's very critical and useful to analyze the customer satisfaction. The objectives of our whole programs are to be ranked number one by passengers as an international gateway in our class, and to be the airport of choice for premium passengers, which we'll define later, and to increase brand awareness and preference. So the problems here are, what's the attitude towards the San Francisco airport and customer experience? Second one, how do they rate our infrastructure using experience and efficiency analysis? And the last one is the customer riding habits, their preference, what do they like, or how do they find out about our airport? So the data set we choose are the San Francisco Airport customer survey data from 2015 to 2017. The data set include demographics like gender, age, income, and also the country they are from, and also the satisfaction with airport facilities and services. We rate the satisfactions by the points from 1 to 5. And for sample size, after we clean our data, we use around 2,500 records from the whole data set of each year. And all the data are collected by interviews with customers in each of the San Francisco terminals and boarding areas. Then here comes the data processing part. The first one is our data cleansing. The main problem here is for some records, there are points like 0 and 6 exist. If the record contains 0, which means the customer didn't fill anything in this column or this question. And the 6 represents when customers said they had nothing to say or they are not familiar with this part. If we are going to use linear or logistical regression to analyze the relationship between the aspects of each part and overall rating, we must delete the zeros because they didn't contribute anything to this whole program. Then we try to use the average of that column, which means the question, to represent as an average rating because it won't affect the overall relationship between the ratings and the final overall ratings. And we apply this method to all the data set from 2015 to 2017. The first question we frame is, according to the San Francisco Airport Survey, which are the categories of airport infrastructure that have the relatively low rating? Because in question 7, there are 10 questions about infrastructures and services, and also an overall rating. We are trying to relay these questions to the overall rating, but there are too many factors, too many variables. The first thing we do is using factor analysis and try to divide these 10 questions into smaller parts. After doing factor analysis, we distribute these 10 questions into 4 groups. They are transportation, infrastructure, information, and entertainment. Then we compare the overall rating, the mean among these groups, to find out the lowest rating. However, there are another very important fact we need to point out here is when we are trying to do multilinear regression, we are trying to build relationship between these four factors and overall rating. For some factors, even though they have a relatively low rating, but they do not contribute that much to the overall rating in question 7a. Then the effort we put here is trying to define the lowest rating by both by defining how it affects the overall rating and the mean together. So if a factor has not that much influence on the overall rating, but it has a relatively low mean, then we might choose another one which has maybe a little bit slightly higher rating, but bigger influence on the overall rating. So during the factor analysis, the absolute loading value of variable Wi-Fi is too low to group into any of these four factors. As we pull out the Wi-Fi variables, we found out Wi-Fi had a relatively higher mean than others. So we compare the means from these 10 questions and find out Wi-Fi is not among those least scored parts. Then we decide, okay, we can put Wi-Fi apart and we can focus on analyzing these four factors. We apply this kind of research methods to all the data set. And the first part is to find out the lowest rating among all the records that do not have 0 and replace 6 with the average rating from 2015 to 2017. After the multilinear regression, we found out the overall rating equals 0.24 times transportation plus 0.34 times infrastructure plus 0.12 times info plus 0.32 times entertainment, then plus the constant 4.06. By comparing the influence on the overall rating and mean, we found out the lowest rated category in 2015 is the entertainment. So people are not that satisfied with our entertainment part in 2015. Next year, 2016, by applying the same method, we find out the lowest rated category are transportation. And among the questions of 2017, the lowest rated category is transportation again. Meanwhile, we can see through these 3 years that the entertainment part has been improved while the transportation part is falling down. So people are getting more and more unhappy about our transportation. And the overall rating is very stable. It hangs around 4, but premium passengers has the lowest satisfaction among the survey. The next question we framed is, according to the San Francisco Airport survey, which is the relevance of international passengers and customer satisfaction? To analyze this question, the first thing we do is trying to figure out whom are those international passengers. To this question, we decide the international passengers by filter the peak question. Among those who choose 3 in the peak question, which represents the international flight, we define them as the international passengers. Because when we are trying to distinguish passengers in the airport, we only focus on, okay, this flight is for international and this flight is for domestic, and that's why we choose peak international flights as our reference to the international passengers. And we apply the same factor analysis, multilinear regression, and to this data set after we filter the international passengers. Then we compare the influence of each factor and also the mean of these factors to find out which are the lowest rating categories. Still, for this part, Wi-Fi is not considered because it couldn't belong to any of these factors, and also it has a relatively higher rating compared to most of the questions. After the linear regression, we find out by combining the influence on the overall rating and also the mean of the factor. The lowest rated category in 2015 is the entertainment. Then it continues in 2016 and 2017. We did a little research about the international passengers, about their demographics and the segmentation. The main age is between 25 to 34 with an income of 50,000 to 100,000. So among these international passengers, Chinese is growing from 5% to 10% from 2015 to 2017, and that corresponds to our facts in San Francisco, because we all know that San Francisco has a great group of Chinese people living there. To answer the last question, according to the San Francisco Airport Survey, which is the relevance of the premium passengers and customer satisfaction, we are trying to find out premium passenger here. Then we sort the data by the time flow in San Francisco airport, because the more times they flow on this airport, the better or more important they are contributed to the overall revenue. So the first thing we do is to use the Pareto plot to find out the 80-20 rule. Then we find out the passengers who flow over 7 times in a year took around 16% of the overall customers that we viewed them as our premium passengers. So these passengers flow over 7 times contributes to over around 80% of our revenue. The next step we do is the same as the former algorithm, the factor analysis. Divided the questions into 4 groups, the same 4 groups, and then multilinear regression. After the calculation, we found out the lowest category in 2015 is transportation. However, in 2016 and 2017, the lowest overall rating category is entertainment. It's very interesting because when we compare to the overall rating of all the customers who took the survey, we can find out the trend is the opposite, because entertainment is the lowest rating in 2015 for all the passengers, but transportation became the lowest for all the passengers in 2016 and 2017. Then here comes the segmentation of the premium passengers. Major age group dropped from range 35 to 44 to 25 to 34, and the annual income is above 150,000, which corresponds to the premium, the word. And most of them took United Airlines, and the ratio kept growing from 2015 to 2017. And around 35 of them also visited San Jose Airport. So San Jose Airport is a strong competitor for us in the premium passengers. Okay, key conclusions we find out from this analysis. The overall customer satisfaction of San Francisco Airport is good, but targeted passengers, the international passengers and the premium passengers, have different opinions. So the category they thought need to be improved is different from the major group. And transportation is the main factor that customers care, but targeted passengers focus more on entertainment services. So the targeted passengers, they do not worry about how to get to the airport. but they more focus on the entertainment. How could they enjoy the atmosphere, the environment in the airport? To attract more targeted passengers, San Francisco Airport should focus more on millennials and Chinese passengers' need. Among those foreign passengers, we find out their opinions on the signal is not that good, so they find the signs confusing, and maybe the airport need to add more signs for the foreign passengers. Millennials has become the biggest portion, not only among our overall customers, but targeted passengers. The premium passengers and the international passengers, in both these categories, the main age group is the millennials, which means 25 to 34. And our recommendations to the San Francisco airport are, the first one is to build up their loyalty program for the airport. This is to target premium and international passengers and trying to improve their customer experience in the airport. And we also need to fit into the millennials trend, maybe add more fashion factors in the airport, and also the design, and maybe the atmosphere and the environment can be changed according to this trend. And also provide exclusive entertainment services to those premium passengers and also international passengers with the need. The second one is to improve entertainment services. Okay, we can be the first one to apply on UA gate areas, since the majority of the flight they choose are UA. And we can add more food options and 24-hour food services to respond to the need of the foreign passengers and also the international passengers. And the final one is to attract more shops and pop-up showpieces, because according to the surveys, we can find out that most of the passengers are reporting, okay, maybe you need to add more shops in the airport, or we can have a variety of selections for shops and also the restaurants. Thanks for listening.